Are you feeling overwhelmed with the world situation? Here's a video for you. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name's Fola, and here on Deep Mind Squared, we talk all things bridging mental wellness and spirituality for nurses. In today's video, I wanted to have a discussion on sitting within discomfort. This is going to tie in a bit of the psychedelic space and the current world situation, as well as just emotions in general. And I think as nurses, we are very much capable of sitting with other people when they are in some pretty uncomfortable places. I mean, palliative care, you're sitting with people who are transitioning on. When it comes to mental health work, which is mostly my background, here we are holding space for people who are in crisis and sometimes not experiencing the most light experiences of life. And so we really have this ability as nurses to understand, to relate and empathize with folks, and to just be there when people need it. Sometimes we don't always do that for ourselves. So it's really important that we have this conversation on ways to accept and acknowledge any of the emotional pains and discomfort that we might be feeling. And I'm going to share a bit about how psychedelics can support some of that. Before we get into all that, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you're updated on future video releases. I was watching a video by a YouTuber, I believe, Richard Grannon. I'll link his link here somewhere below. I think I could do that. And he made this comment in a presentation he was putting on, that as humans, we have this obsession of stopping all pain. And it really stood out to me hearing him say that because it's so true. I see that in my own life, how different emotional struggles and challenges come up, and I oftentimes want to avoid them. And I hear this time and time again with people that I'm working with, that, you know, they have anxiety and different pains or depression and these emotions that leave them feeling like they want to get out of their own skin. And it gets to this point too, where some people are reporting just feeling so apathetic to life. And it's almost like we have not allowed ourselves to be within this discomfortable place. I just used that word or made that word up there, but it can be really overwhelming. So acknowledging that that can be heavy, and it's heavy when we aren't taught, like most of us, how to deal with those types of heavy emotions. I know for myself growing up, I think my parents didn't know how to handle certain emotions. So of course they couldn't teach me how to cope and to maybe work through things like anger and fear and all of that. So it's no one's fault really. It's just this intergenerational process where now in our day and age with COVID, here we are waking up to the ability to really sit and see where people's discomfort can be. And we're being made to really slow down, and that can be super uncomfortable. But we are such a society just obsessed with stopping any form of pain. You know, pop this pill, take this drug, or drink this drink, and you know, you can go and do all these different modalities, and people's hope is to heal themselves, to make themselves feel better so that they don't have to feel any of that discomfort. Well, I'm here, I guess, to tell you, unfortunately, that I think this is really a part of the life experience, is this cycle or this wheel of life is us going through ups and downs. Doesn't mean, though, that we have to get stuck in those painful moments. And it also doesn't mean that healing or going through any type of process needs to necessarily be hard and really heavy. I think the important thing here is to acknowledge that it's a cycle and that this is going to also pass. Just the other day, I ended up having a very intense emotional reaction. Let's put it that way. It was horrible. Like the level of intensity of what I was feeling, the emotions of like anger and resentment and like I can even just think about it. It's like I could easily probably bring that all up if I really wanted to, because there's still pieces that want to like move through and be looked at for me. And I wanted to run. I was like really having to be mindful of who I was interacting with that day, because I didn't want to take it out on anyone that I really care about. So that was, I guess, a good insight on my behalf. And this feeling was like bubbling inside, and I didn't really know what it was. it was like, I think actually a huge part of it for me was like my ego mind. Again, not that the ego's bad or anything, but like my ego was trying to protect itself from something very intense. And so it was projecting all this anger and this resentment out into the world, when in reality there was this fear and this discomfort that it was going on internally. And was sitting with this throughout the day, and then my physical body starting to create manifestations of the emotional pains I was going through. Ugh, that's uncomfortable. I was like really just wanting to give up. Let's put it that way. It's like, oh God, like just take me now. I said that many times throughout the day. I laughed because it was very melodramatic, I guess. Not really what I wanted, but this reminder in my head was going through, Fola, just, it's okay. Sit with this, be with it, communicate with what that pain is, with that discomfort. What is it trying to tell you? And trust, as with any time this has happened before, usually the next day or at least another few days, it goes away. And sure enough, like it was as if, I don't know, I mean, I did set my intentions. So in the dream time, watch that dream intention video I just put out if you want to learn about this process. But I just said, how do I like see and hear what this is trying to tell me? Not that I needed it to necessarily like go away, though that's really tempting to want to be like, okay, just take it from me. And like, how do I heal this? I don't want to deal with it. It's more around the thought of how can I hear and really truly see what this is trying to show me so that I can understand what I need to. Because there's something happening for us. And within the psychedelic space, just to tie this all together with that, is psychedelics can be a challenge for most people. It puts us into a mind state where things in our subconscious and in our environment are brought up with like, a vengeance sometimes. It's like putting a microscope on certain things or areas in your life that might be having some struggles. And so with psychedelics, here we are now allowing ourselves to really take a look, see at where are some of the things that are pains or fears, or even the positive things, obviously, because that can happen too. But in this conversation around the discomfort, the psychedelics make us really be within that space. And it's important that we learn to just allow and be mindful of whatever those discomforts might be, how they show up in your physical body, how they might show up in how you're then interacting with someone or not interacting, how it shows up within your emotions and your mental thoughts, or the chatter in your mind, because all this stuff is interconnected. And psychedelics can really engage us within that discomfort, where we're no longer trying to push things away, but rather just sit with it. And I liken this to that story by Tara Brach, a Buddhist mindfulness teacher, really great storyteller. And she shares about the story of the Buddha inviting this evil sort of energy to come and have tea. And it's like as if you had like Jesus inviting the devil to come and sit and have tea with him. And this story is basically the fact that instead of trying to push away all this horrible discomfort and the stuff that doesn't seem good, it's like inviting that part, because really that's what it is. It's a projection of ourselves, this shadow self. If we can imagine that part coming and sitting down and serving it tea, greeting it, being a host, welcoming it, showing it love and compassion instead of just trying to put up walls. And so much in our society right now, we are creating walls and walls and walls when it comes to people's othering views about reality and how things need to play out. Unfortunately, those things are going to just keep coming up the more we try to put up walls and push away from those energies. So inviting you to sit, invite that part to tea, sit in the discomfort if you can. And know that you don't have to do it alone. You can reach out to someone that you trust, a friend, a therapist, whoever. Do that inner work by sitting and being okay with that discomfort. And I feel like I truly believe that psychedelics can help support us with that in the right context. Because it obviously is something that needs to be navigated in a gentle and compassionate way. So feel free to let me know, let everyone know in the comments what you think about this. What is it that you might be struggling with right now, even on an emotional level, or something going on in your physical reality that has you really wanting to turn the other way and just ignore it or avoid it? And are you willing to maybe look that direction and greet it just for a brief moment? And know that you don't have to completely surrender all of you to that energy. You can ask it to be gentle and to show you in a gentle and loving way what you need to know. That's really all I had to say today. Feel free to like this video if you found it helpful in any way, and share it with anyone you think might benefit from learning more about this topic. And I look forward to catching you in another video. So take care.